We are back with another Rants review, and this time we are not talking about Dice Throne, although I do love this game. We, a while back, did cover Marvel Dice Throne and the inclusion of Scarlet Witch, Thor, Loki, Miles Morales' Spider-Man, and even some of the expansions like Black Panther and Captain Marvel. But the reason we're here today is to talk about the new box from their Kickstarter. This is actually one of the boxes they did for the Kickstarter. This one includes Cyclops, Gambit, Rogue, and Jean Grey. It is their X-Men theme box. They have two different boxes as well as a standalone one character box, which we'll talk about. These also still work with the Dice Throne system, so if you want to use them with other characters within the Dice Throne, you can, and you can mix and match them with the Marvel Dice Throne, whatever works best for you. But let's open this up, let's see what comes inside, and talk a little bit more about how the game works. So Dice Throne is a really fun game in which you are working with like health points and victory points, and you are rolling dice specifically to activate abilities while buying cards to get you upgrades to your abilities. Some characters have even more abilities and special things, so there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. So right off the bat, we've got a lot of punch outs. Some of it's already been punched out. We've got our player boards, which are going to be really helpful to know like what your character's abilities are, which is really cool. So for instance, Cyclops has a hand-to-hand, target acquired, regroup, strafe, assault, recourse, never back down, teamwork, and of course his mega ability, Optic Blast, which is an ultimate, which is pretty dope. Gambit has his bow staff, poker face, card shark, raging Cajun, Creole Crusader, sleight of hand, Bojutsu, high stakes, and the Diablo Blanc. Rogue has Brawl, Sass, Absorption, Influential, Duplicate, Skybound, Leech, Ionic Drive, and High Altitude. And then Jean Grey has Mind Attack, Psychic Multiplier, Astral Combat, Firebird, the Phoenix, Sonic Shield, Telekinetic Blast, Alcoholism, Call of the Phoenix, and One True Phoenix as their ultimate. Those are really cool. Of course, you have a little thing on there to turn her into Dark Phoenix. It says, when Jean Grey is active, draw one at the beginning of main phase 1. When you activate an offense ability, if your dice shows 3 of a kind, draw 1. And the swap out here for Dark Phoenix says when Dark Phoenix is active, skip your income phase. When you activate an offensive ability, if your dice shows 3 of a kind, either add 2 damage to your attack or inflicts Phoenix Burn. Fools who dare trifle with the Phoenix. I do love that little add-on there. It covers up the activity and turns it into a different one. That's pretty dope. And then you've got some rules clarifications for Jean Grey regarding their abilities and skills, also as Rogue, which is dope. You also have those same ones for Cyclops and Gambit. Each, more silicate packets, make sure you dispose of those properly. Each set, of course, has their own set of dice. You have Phoenix dice, Rogue dice, Cyclops dice, and Gambit dice. You have cards for them. They even included little baggies to help make it organized. So yeah, let's take this and let's set up these spinners. Build these out. I've got this all set up here, and as you can see, the playscape is very, very useful. You've got your character sheets that tells you what attacks you can do, what the attacks have damage for. You've got your health set for 50. Your combat points start the game with 2. You also start the game drawing 4 cards off your top of your deck. That represents your hand at the start of the game. The first player does not get to do their first income phase, so we're going to give Rogue the first time up. So the way the game starts, normally at the beginning of your turn, you would deal with whatever status effects currently has in play, and then you would start your income phase. Income phase is gaining 1 combat point and then drawing 1 card. First player to get his first income phase. So you're just going to go into the cards and see what it is. So you actually have stars and red borders. Red borders basically indicate this is like a one-time use. And they have little indicators here on the side saying when they're used. So main phase actions, roll phase actions. So on her turn, she can choose to take her main phase and use some abilities. For instance, it's roll 1 dice, gain half the value as CP rounded up. This one is remove a static from a chosen player. This is remove all status effects tokens from a chosen player. So the only one that's kind of helpful at this time to kind of set things up would probably be Vegas Baby. So it's a free action to play. Just grab 1 die. That is 5. That's half the value rounded up, meaning 3. So she's going to increase her combat power from 2 to 5. Now, as part of her turn, she's going to go into her offensive roll phase. You can roll up to 3 times with the dice to get the desired effect that you want. Remember, you want to activate an ability of some type. So for instance, Sass. Gain 1 combat point and inflict influence. Deal 3 undefendable damage. There's Brawl. You get 3 hands in a row. You deal 4 damage. 4 hands, 5 damage. 5 hands equals 6 damage. And on 3 of a kind numbers, you gain 1 combat point. Leech requires flight and at least 1 hand, 3 flight. Small straight for absorption. Skybound requires 2 of these, 2 flights. So I could do Skybound. Skybound gains 1 CP, add Skyward token, and then deal 7 damage. It is defendable though. Influential, if I want to try to get 2 more of those dots, those little circles, gain Skyward, inflict 2 influence, and deal 6 undefendable damage. Duplicate is a defensive roll of 4. And we'll go into that in the defensive stage later. I've got 3 rolls. There's always a chance it'll come up. I'm going to see if I can get influential. So right now, I can do Sass. I'm guaranteed to get Sass. So got 1 more roll. Let's see if I can get that 1 more. Apparently I'm doing Sass. So this one will be right here. I gain a combat point, bump me up to 6. And it is inflict influence. So Gambit now has influence. What that means is a player afflicted with this token must roll 1 dice at the start of their offensive roll phase per token. For every 1 to 3 rolled, they get 1 fewer roll attempt. Then remove all these tokens. So that's really interesting, really nice. It is deal 3 undefendable damage. Now before we deal with that, now comes the issue of turn order, and that is targeting roll phase. So it's 1 for 1, so don't have to worry about targeting. You just deal with it exactly as it is. But defensive roll phase, your opponent takes 1 defensive roll. And then we'll defend anything that is stoppable damage. Unfortunately, none of it is stoppable damage. So unfortunately, Gambit is going to take that 3 damage, but it is only 3 damage, so you're going to lower your health down to 47. Now, at the end of that phase, it's now main phase 2, which allows you to play more cards if you want to. We're not going to. And then discard down to 6. She only has 3 cards, so that is that for that turn. Next one up is going to be Gambit. So Gambit, unfortunately, is not the first player in the turn round, so he actually does get to take his 1 additional combat power and gets to draw a card up. On the main combat phase, he's going to spend 2 combat power to activate draw 3 with triple up. So he's going to spend his last CP to upgrade an attack. So instead of having Poker Face, he has Poker Face 2, which still has all the effects of Poker Face, but it also now has Mon Cher as an additional one. So instead of just accelerate 4 times, gain Disillusion and 1 CP, draw 1 card, and inflict Disruption, you now have Mon Cher, which is gain Dissolution 2, add 2 CP, draw 1 card, regain 2 ace cards, then accelerate 4 times. So that is interesting. All right, for his turn, we're now going to roll the next phase, which is the offensive roll phase. We have to first start off by rolling the influence. So that's 2. So unfortunately, he only gets to roll once. Try twice. Gets to roll twice. Okay. So I didn't talk about these. These are the ace cards. So those are a lot of his abilities that allow you to charge up cards. For instance, you have an ace card for your spade, clubs, diamonds, and hearts, and they all have different abilities. Talking about healing, damaging, rolling a dice. Lots of effects to come into play. So just put these here for now. If he wanted to, he could activate Bojutsu, which does 2 undefendable damage, gains the Dissolution for him. And then also you may explode a card, ace card at this time, if you have the ability to do so, which a lot of these cards require you actually build up these powers, like Accelerate, to be able to do so. I think at this time, I'm definitely going to do this just because it's unstoppable and I gain some of my tokens. So I'm going to just take that right there, which means I get to do 2 unstoppable damage to her. Fortunately, it is unstoppable. But unlike what she did to me, it's 1 less. And I gain the condition Dissolution. A player with this token may spend it during their main phase. When spent, choose a player to heal 2 or remove a negative status from that player. So that'll go right there in his bay of tokens that he has. That's a really cool effect that he has. There begins his next main phase ability. He is not going to spend more on cards, and he currently has 6 cards, so he is fine with not needing to discard. Going back to Rogue. Rogue gains Ionic Drive, level 1, which gives you additional damage on her next attack, which is pretty cool. So on her turn, she gets to go up 1 CP. 7, draw a card. And she'll spend 2, dropping it down to 5. Draw 3 more cards. Yeah, she'll upgrade absorption to the next level. And let's roll this out. We're going to use this immediately to activate Leech, which the way this one works is gain ionic energy 1 and roll 1 die. On a hand, steal 2 health. On a flight, steal 3 health and gain ionic energy 1. On the ion, steal 4 health and gain ionic energy. You may spend 1 CP to increase the value of the die by 1. Alright, so it's just 2 health. Steal 2 health. Okay. So because she did damage, it's not unstoppable. She is stealing 2 health from him, 2 damage, health to her. He does get to do his defensive phase, so he gets to roll 3 dice for Creole Crusader and deal 1 damage times the amount of these little staff icons. So she got 3 damage to heal 2. But he is taking 2 damage. So that's lowering his health. As you can see here, the game is a lot of fun. You're playing abilities, you're upgrading abilities, you're throwing attacks back and forth. The game is unique and interesting and can get really fun. Gameplay on a game like this, you're looking at about probably 30 minutes just to play between 2 or 4 players, and you will start sapping health as soon as you start getting your upgrades and rolling out what needs to be rolled out to do additional damage. But all in all, it is a very fun and interesting game. And if you're a huge fan of the X-Men, of Gambit, of Rogue, of Phoenix, of Jean Grey, and of Cyclops, this is a really good pack to pick up, especially if you didn't back the Kickstarter. It is going to be available very soon, so make sure you pick it up before it sells out, because it will. It's really cool. Hope you guys like this. Hope you guys pick this up for yourself, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.